Hello, fellow Movie Crusaders, and welcome to another episode of Sean's Movie Crusades. My name's Sean Wasserkrug, and today we're going to be reviewing the new, I guess I would call it a romantic comedy film from Hulu, Palm Springs. Now, Palm Springs has had a very, very popular word of mouth ever since Sundance, because it was one of the most popular movies coming out of Sundance. I really didn't know much about it because I usually try to steer clear away from the Sundance talks. I don't want movies spoiled for me. But I did see the trailer for this drop a couple weeks back, and I loved the trailer. I'm obviously a big fan of Andy Samberg. You know, I love him in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I loved him in Saturday Night Live, and of course, Lonely Island. Kristen Maloney or Malone T. Obviously, the only thing I really know her from mostly is she was the mother in How I Met Your Mother. But the trailer itself, when people ask me, what's this movie about? I kind of say it's basically like Groundhog Day meets Happy Death Day meets Edge of Tomorrow, but a rom-com. And they usually give me a weird look, but they usually kind of understand because Groundhog Day is not a rom-com. Groundhog Day is a comedy. Happy Death Day is obviously a horror comedy, and Edge of Tomorrow is a sci-fi film based around this kind of setting. But adding the romantic element to it definitely adds a new twist to it, and with two great leads in Andy Samberg and Kristen Maloney. The trailer itself looked incredibly fun. Plus, you add J.K. Simmons to the grouping as well. It got me really, really excited to see this movie. So going into the actual review of Palm Springs, the actual plot, if you haven't already figured it out already, is when carefree Niles and reluctant maid of honor Sarah have a chance encounter at a Palm Springs wedding, things get complicated as they are unable to escape the venue, themselves, or each other. Basically, the day just keeps repeating for them, a la just like Groundhog Day and all the other movies that I mentioned previously. This is also the first directorial debut for a movie for Max Barbakow. And frankly, I loved this movie. I had a blast watching it. I think the writing was clever throughout. I think the two leads between Samberg and Maloney, I'm probably saying her name wrong the entire time. I think their chemistry worked incredibly well, playing basically two kind of damaged people who have just kind of given up on life, finding each other in this weird circumstance and growing together as people as they live through the same day over and over and over and over again. And I've always kind of liked these kinds of scenarios where they live the same day over and over again, whether it be any of the movies I previously listed or Netflix's Russian Doll, or one of my favorite Supernatural episodes is where Sam and Dean are caught in a time loop and Dean dies every single time. I like that concept if it's done correctly, and I think Palm Springs does a really good job of being unique. I mean, you're going to have the typical where one of them knows every single person in the room because they've been in there through a lot of times. They know if someone's going to fall or do a certain thing, but it's once they actually get through that kind of generic thing, like they know everybody in the room, what are they going to do that's different and unique and fun to keep the repetition of the plot energetic throughout the rest of the movie? And I think Palm Springs does a real good job of doing that while also developing a chemistry and a relationship between the two leads, Niles and Sarah. J.K. Simmons as Roy is a nice welcome addition into it when he pops in and out during it. I'm a huge fan of J.K. Simmons. I love him in everything he's in. And adding him to it definitely helps out a lot. The rest of the cast, I mean, they're there, but they're not really vital to the main story, except they're basically pieces in their day. I mean, you got Peter Gallagher as Howard. He plays Sarah's father. You got Misty, played by Meredith Hagner, who I actually really like her. I kind of wish they would have kind of done more with her in the movie. But she did her part in the film. Camila Mendes from Riverdale. She plays Talia. Tyler Hoechlin, who I love in a lot of things. He plays Abe. They're all there, but I mean, they're just playing kind of the same thing over and over and over again. The main stars are obviously Samberg, Milante, and then Simmons. And like I said, I really enjoyed the concept. I really enjoyed the plot, the acting, the story throughout. I had a smile on my face the whole way through. When it gets to the romantic-esque parts of the film, I was generally happy and I was generally excited where this was going to go. I'll definitely say this: when the movie ends, do not turn it off, at least until you get to the actual credits, because there is a mid-credit scene. And without that mid-credit scene, I would have actually been really, really disappointed in this film with the way it would have initially ended. So definitely make sure you check out the mid-credit scene before you turn off your Hulu and move on to something else. Overall, like I said, I really, really enjoyed this movie. We don't get a whole lot of good rom-coms really anymore. I mean, over the last couple of years, I mean, you got Crazy Rich Asians, you got Netflix's Set It Up, last year's Always Be My Maybe. Not a whole lot of theatrical rom-coms anymore that really are fun and stuff that I would actually recommend people to check out. But with Palm Springs on Hulu, I 100% recommend this film. I think most people who like this cast and like the Groundhog Day-esque kind of theme are really going to enjoy this movie. I think it's unique enough to not be repeating the same tropes that the other movies did, but being fresh enough for you to have actually feel like another adventure of a day that just will not end. Going to my actual review score, I'm going to give Palm Springs a 9 out of 10. Like I said, I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to watch it again. And I, like I said, really like the performances between Sandberg and Malonti and Simmons. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys feel like this review is worth sharing, go ahead and hit that share button. But most importantly, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos that pop up in Sean's Movie Crusades. And of course, don't forget to follow us on all the social media outlets you see below. Coming up next, we had a couple other movies come out this weekend as well. We have The Old Guard on Netflix. It's kind of like a Charlize Theron, almost like Bloodshot. And Bloodshot meets like Six Underground-esque kind of film. So I'll be checking that out. And then, of course, Tom Hanks has his Navy war film, Greyhound, being released on Apple TV. So whenever I get a chance to check that out, I will have a review for that. So be on the lookout for both those reviews. And until next time, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.